Welcome back to the Lions Den Sports Podcast. I'm Chase Gispert.
And I'm Troy Allen.
And, man, we're ready to jump right back into it. Week 8 NFL action. We're also going to talk some MLB World Series as well as the NBA season tipping off last night. But first, of course, we got to keep it SLU lineup. Got the first win. Big win. Obviously, it's been a disappointing season, 0-7, but finally picked up that elusive first win over Northwestern State. Still kind of had some turnovers and a lot of penalties, but managed to win by 17 on the road in the Southland Conference. Can't complain. Finally got the monkey off our back. And yeah, I thought I was pretty satisfied just to get a win finally.
Oh, yeah, same here.
But what were your thoughts on the game, True?
Oh, yeah, obviously a great win. About time we get one, man. About
pray
time.
For times like this.
Exactly. So, yeah, I believe we had like 539 yards of offense, the highest of the season so far. But, yeah, it was a great game, though. Obviously, you mentioned it a couple of days ago, but the DeAndre, he's like really nice. That freshman back, yeah, he had 6 carries for 119 yards and a touchdown last week. So he was obviously a huge part of our win. I think he was phenomenal. Darius Lewis, another good game, 6 catches, 106 yards versus NSU. Two weeks ago now, I believe he had like 75 yards and 2 touchdowns. Versus I think that was the homecoming game.
Lamar,
yeah. Versus Lamar. So back to back good weeks for him. But overall, I was really happy with the outcome. We did have that interception, but it was a tipped thing. In my opinion, I saw the clip. I thought it was an accurate pass thrown by Zach, but just a very unfortunate thing which has happened to us a lot this season. But overall, glad we got the win, 37-20. I believe that was our largest point total of the year so far as well. So it's on the McNeese, man.
Yeah, we do have a bye week this week, but like Troy said, McNeese coming up the next Saturday at home.
Next Saturday.
They're winless. I'm not sure if they play a game. I could look it up real quick.
Yeah, they play Saturday versus NSU.
Okay. Against NSU.
Yeah, they play Saturday.
Once again, battle of the winless teams like it was between Southeastern and Northwestern last week.
Yeah.
But yeah, overall, I think, like you said, Lewis is coming on. Jackson, DeAndre Jackson, really impressive as the third string running back behind Harlan Dixon and Rodeo Graham, but really a nice stable of backs. And Lewis is coming on. Also, Maurice Massey coming back was really thought to be wide receiver 1 going into the season. He really made an impact. He had 3 catches for over 80 yards. Almost had a touchdown, too. He got down to the 1 on one of his catches. But finally, it seems like the offense is clicking. Did still have a couple turnovers, need to clean that up. But overall, like you said, great win. And if you look down the stretch at our schedule, we have a bye this week. We get the rest up. McNeese, we really should beat them, I feel. They haven't won a game yet. They might beat Northwestern State, but at best they'll have one win like us. It's at home, coming off a bye week. I think we're better than them. We should take care of business.
Yeah.
Then you go at Texas A&M Commerce. I believe they're 1-5.
1-6 actually.
1-6 now.
Yeah.
So
1-6.
Same type of story. You would think, too, the team wants a little bit of revenge for how they beat us on homecoming last year. But, yeah, again, I think we're more talented than them. That's a very winnable game on the road. And then Nichols, River Bell Classic, obviously don't really matter the records when you play them in the River Bell. It's just a rivalry game. Crazy stuff happens. But, again, I feel we're more talented than them. So I really feel like these last 3 games are winnable. Obviously, we're out of the playoffs and really out of the conference. But at least, try to salvage, get the sour taste out of your mouth, which has been a disappointing season, but give you some momentum going into next year.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and looking at the McNeese game real quick, like you said, I think we should win. I was looking over their games, and they've only had 1 competitive game this season.
Yeah, they got blown out a lot.
Yeah, they've been getting blown out a lot. They do have the second worst offense in the conference at 14.9 points per game, and they're giving up 34 points per game, which is the second worst, which makes it the second worst defensive team in the in the Southland Conference. So I definitely do think it's a winnable game. And like you said, obviously our record isn't what it is, but I do think because we're more talented and we have been more competitive over McNeese, especially looking at the last 3 to 4 to 5 games, we've been a lot more competitive compared to them. So yeah, I think we should beat them pretty easily, if you ask me.
Yeah, and that's a good point. Besides the two FBS opponents we played when things got a little lopsided against Mississippi State and then in the second half against South Alabama, really been very competitive despite the record. A lot of close games we could have won. I mean, we've mentioned that time and time again, but lost on the road to Eastern Washington by 11. I mean, that's respectable. HCU was kind of the shocker, lost by 15 at home, but Tarleton, you lost by 1, should have won that game. UIW, you lost by 7, we're in that game. Lamar lost by 6. So, I mean, they've been. I think Southeastern. It's safe to say they're your record. It is what it is, as people say. You are what your record says you are. But I do think this team is a lot better and certainly more talented than 1-7. But like we said, it looks like down the stretch 3 winnable games. So that'd be awesome if they could go out and win these next 3, go out on a 4-game win streak.
Yeah.
But moving on, so for all of our MLB fans out there, I know I'm a Phillies fan personally. Heartbreaking series loss in the NLCS last night at home to the Diamondbacks. I mean, took a 1-game 5 in Arizona to go up 3-2. Coming home, you got both games in Philly. I mean, I thought it was in the bag. Lose game 6, I was like, all right, we'll bounce back in game 7. Didn't happen. The bats, I think I saw a stat. The Phillies' best 4 hitters went 1 for 28 in games 6 and 7 combined from the plate. Bryce Harper, Trey Turner, and Nick Castellanos all went hitless. I mean, you just can't win when that happens.
Nope.
Really disheartening. Also, I was happy for the Rangers. They beat the Astros. That series was crazy. The road team won every single game of the series. And similar happened. The Astros were up 3-2 going home to Houston, and the Rangers won both in Houston. So,
wow.
I mean, kudos to the Rangers and the Diamondbacks getting it done on the road. Should be an interesting World Series, but obviously I'm disappointed with the Phillies. I'm rooting for the Rangers. I can't pull for the Diamondbacks.
Yeah.
They just rip my heart out, man. But let's go on to NBA. Obviously, huge Lakers and LeBron fan on side of me.
Yeah.
Man, I was pulling for him last night against the Nuggets. It kind of got close early in the fourth quarter, but the Nugs pulled away. Really, to me, the headline was Anthony Davis's disappearing act.
Yeah, 100%.
In the second half. I mean, 17 points at the half, finished with 0 in the second.
As someone who watched that game from start to finish, we sort of we made our first 3 shots of the game. As a matter of fact, the Nuggets and Lakers, they were going blow for blow with each other. AD started off the game with like with a monster dunk over Jokic and stuff like that. But they pulled away to, I believe the lead went as high as 18 points.
Oh, wow.
And like you said, we just kept chipping away at halftime. It was a 9-point game at halftime, and AD had 17 points. He was finishing in transition, getting into the paint, getting to the spots. He even hit a 3-pointer in the game as well. In the first half. And
I know Darvin Ham said he wants to get his 3-point tip.
Yeah, exactly. So I love what I saw from AD in the first half. He was assertive, aggressive, just being the AD that I saw back in 2020, back in 2019. Those prime years with the Pels, and then I don't know what happened. 0 for 6 in the second half. You just can't explain it. He had 11 shot attempts in the first half. Only took 6 in the second half. Not only that, but like I said, like you mentioned, missed all of them. Right. And then our role players struggled, man. Austin Reeves 14 points on 4 of 11 shooting. D'Lo 11 points on 4 of 12 shooting. Rui Hachimura 6 points on 3 of 10 shooting. Wow. And to me, the worst performance of the night, Gabe Vincent, 6 points, 3 of 8 shooting, 0 of 4 from 3, and a minus 17 in 22 minutes.
Jeez,
by the way,
that is brutal.
The Nuggets lead was as large as 18. Gabe Vincent was a minus 17. so that's just that just lets you know how awful he was last night.
And he was. I'm sure you were excited about getting him. really dazzled in his that playoff run with the Heat.
Most certainly
was
did.
Really a catalyst for them, helping out Jimmy Butler and company. But yeah, just not a good debut.
Yeah, not one at all.
Nuggets seem like I think it's so hard to go back to back. Now it is kind of hard to bet against them, but they still look formidable. I thought they would kind of. I mean, it's only one game, but I thought they would kind of maybe regress a little bit without Bruce Brown.
Yeah, same here. But no.
Yeah, it looks like they're here to stay.
It looks like Christian Brown is taking up that little role.
Yeah, and he did show flash. I think it was Game 3 against the Heat last year in the finals. Where he kind of like announced himself.
Yeah, he had like 15 points, I think.
Kind of out of nowhere too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, as a Pelicans fan watching AD, you can't deny. I mean, you could arguably say besides. Now, LeBron's aging, obviously. I guess you could say Giannis is a freak, but, I mean, I'd put up AD with anyone just off of pure talent.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
But it's like, I don't know if it's mentality, what it is. I just looked up his age. I say only. I know he's 30. Well, he is 30 years old, so he's kind of in the back. Obviously, he's in the latter stages of his career, but, I mean, to me, he's still in his prime. Like, he should not be regressing like this.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
And especially when you got Bron, a generational, I mean, arguably the GOAT on your team, and he's putting in minutes like this. Obviously, they're trying to kind of get his minutes down, but, I mean, he's 38 years old. He needs you to take the brunt, AD, and be the man. Exactly. So he could kind of save himself for the playoffs, and, it's just not a good look for AD.
Yeah. And speaking of Bron, by the way, in limited minutes last night, a new rotation. He had 21, 8, and 5, shot 63% from the field, and he was a +7.
Wow.
And
Mr. Efficient as always.
100%. So LeBron was super great last night. I said this right before the podcast. I thought LeBron should have taken at least 8 free throws last night because he was every single time he would get to the rim, he was getting hacked, pulled, fouled, and the refs didn't call it. But you know. It's whatever, and another problem we have is our rebounding sucks.
Yeah.
If Austin Reeves is one of your leaders for rebounding,
that's a problem.
Yeah, exactly. And by the way, AD he led the league in rebounding last year. Yeah. Only had 8 boards last night. LeBron getting 8 boards is pretty good, but Reeves had 8 boards last night too.
Jeez.
And we have other guys who can rebound on our roster.
What did Rui have?
I think he only had like 2 or 3 rebounds. Jeez, Christian Wood, who's a center, by the way, I think he has single-digit rebounds too. Jeez, so like rebounding is an effort thing, and watching the Lakers last night, no effort. And like real quick for the Nuggets, Jokic 13 rebounds. Well, that's pretty normal. That's Jokic, but. Michael Porter Jr. 12 rebounds last night. 12 rebounds. Michael Porter Jr. And
out rebounding your center.
Yeah, exactly. Out rebounding AD, Christian Wood. Rebounding is more of an effort thing, and whenever you don't put in the effort, especially on the boards, you're just going to get killed. And it's not like we don't have the size to rebound, because we absolutely do. So those are just my quick thoughts on the game. But moving on, the second game of last night, we did have Kevin Durant's return to Golden State for the first time. This is crazy. Kevin Durant hasn't played in Golden State since 2018.
He's ducking.
So this was his first game in Golden State since 2018. He had 18-11 on 7-22 shooting. Didn't do too much, but I think the story of the night was Devin Booker. He quite easily 32, 6 and 8, 62% from the field, 21 first half points as well. As a matter of fact, down the stretch of the game, the Nuggets scored 15 points in 8 minutes. Wow. He either scored or assisted on all those points. So he was phenomenal last night, and then you had guys like Joshua Okogie step up with 17 points.
Yeah, he was 7 of 9 from the field.
100%. Yusuf Nurkic, he also had a good game too.
He must have heard your doubts, Troy.
Yeah. Hey, it's whatever. It's game 1, but he had 14 points and 14 boards. But I kind of expected that from At least from like a rebound perspective, because KD had 11 boards, Nurkic had 14. Even Book had 6 boards, which is pretty good.
8 assists too guard. From Book. Led the team in scoring and assists.
Exactly.
Also, I'd like to say Bradley Beal. I know he's hurt, right? I don't think it's serious, but he didn't play last night. So from a Suns perspective, to go on the road and beat Golden State.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Without one of your best players is pretty impressive.
Yep, and quickly recap Golden State. Steph was okay, 27-5, nothing crazy. He didn't shoot the ball as well, but like
4 of 14 from 3-point line.
Yeah. They did have the explosive third quarter where they scored 40 points, but outside of that third quarter, that Golden State team, just wasn't all that good. CP3 4 of 15 shooting, missed all of his threes too.
I can't believe he even took 6 threes. Isn't that a lot for him?
Yeah, it kind of is. It kind of is. Wiggins and Clay really struggled too.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's again like how the Warriors lost the Lakers in the playoffs last year. It just seems like it's Curry and like a bunch of guys that are just not really pulling their weight.
The problem is they don't have that shot creator. You know what I'm saying?
I think Clay declining and kind of getting up there in age combined with his injury history is kind of showing, because I don't 100%. Think he's necessarily the same player. He was 6 of 18, 3 of 11. He got 15, but I mean they need him to really get around 20. I feel like
exactly,
to be that championship team.
And not to mention Klay Thompson, Clay never had like good ball handles, in his prime, and now that he's older. His handle is even worse somehow.
Right.
But on the bright side though, Moses Moody, he does look like a promising
I think he needs
player. 100%. Moody 11 points, 3 steals, showed promise defensively, was very efficient too. But yeah, that's a little recap for the Suns and the Warriors. Mm-hmm. It was a close game, but like I said, the Suns they beat the Warriors. With KD having an off night, I don't think he'll shoot 7 for 22 pretty often. And then they're getting Bill back. We're looking at 3 guys who are very efficient, great, elite scorers. And in my opinion, I think Booker should play the 1. I think he's the best playmaker on that roster. There were reports saying Bill might be the 1, but in my opinion, I don't think Bill is a 1. I think he's a 2, a guy who can play off the ball, catch and shoot, operate the pick and roll sometimes, but that's not his main focus on offense.
Yeah, Booker got, like you said, 8 assists. I mean, to me, he's shown his playmaking for sure. And then we do have the Pelicans. For all the Pelicans fans out there, I know I'm one. Zion is playing tonight, so hopefully, fingers crossed, knock on wood, he can play the whole season and into the postseason, hopefully. But we play at the Grizzlies. That's going to be interesting.
No Ja that game.
Okay, Ja's out.
Yeah, he's out for the first 25 games.
Suspension. Suspension. Be interesting to see Marcus Smart in a Grizzlies uniform.
Yeah.
It's still going to take some getting used to. But some other good games. Celtics, Knicks.
OKC and Chicago might be pretty good. Mm-hmm. Scoot Henderson's debut, obviously. And then Victor Wembanyama. His debut versus Luka Doncic and Kyrie Irving.
Yeah, I didn't even see that.
That should be a good game. Yeah,
for sure.
That should be a really good game. On Dallas side, obviously there's Luka and Kyrie, and then for the Spurs, there's obviously Wembanyama, but 2 underrated players people don't talk about is Devin Vassell and Keldon Johnson. Johnson last year averaged like 21 points a game, and Vassell was 18 a night. So those are 2 very, very underrated basketball players.
The West is stacked as always.
Yeah, man, very much. Even the bottom teams got some type of talent.
Right. So obviously it should be a great NBA season. Tipped off last night, 2 great games with contenders. But let's go into the NFL. So first off, Troy gets the Lion.
Barely.
By 1 game. This was by far our worst week.
Just easily.
We both had, I think the first time we both had losing records.
Yeah.
I went 5-8, and you went 6-7. Got the dub though. All that matters. So you're 4-3. I'm 3-4. I think overall I'm ahead of you by 1 game, but all that matters is the wins and loss column by week. So obviously it's close. That's awesome. But Really the big major storylines, I think the biggest one for sure was the Vikings beating the 49ers at home on Monday Night Football. Kirk Cousins masterclass, really.
Bro,
And
what?
he gets criticized a lot for having a bad record in primetime games, but he really stepped up to the plate. And yeah, the Vikings, they looked like they were left for dead. No Justin Jefferson, but how about Jordan Addison? Over 100 yards, 2 touchdowns.
Him in a Steelers
yeah,
uniform.
one. I thought it was an interception. Steals it. From was it Travarius Ward or was Jimmy Ward? I think.
No. Tre'Davious Ward, Jimmy Ward. I forgot. They basically like exchanged wards, but yeah, it's Tre'Davious Ward though. It's Tre'Davious Ward.
So I saw it was like Jordan Addison holding a Ward like he was his son. He definitely, dude. He's slender, but he's so like shifty. I didn't realize his routes are so crisp. He was giving the Niners secondary fits all game, but. Vikings, I mean, the Lions, it's still their division to lose, I think, but Vikings are not out of it, still in the wild card picture. And San Francisco looking like they were Super Bowl favorites just 2 weeks ago, 2 straight losses, kind of looking more human now. I know they don't have Debo.
But as you said, the Vikings, they were missing their best player.
Right.
Their offensive line is also pretty bad.
Mm-hmm.
So bad offensive line, can't run the football, missing your best player. To me, the Niners, I believe that was my lock of the week last week. The Niners beating the Vikings was my lock. Mm-hmm. And so, obviously, the Niners, they had injuries of their own, but that's why that's why they have so much talent. You know, you talk about CMC, Kittle, Ayuk was healthy in there, Purdy. People been throwing him in MVP conversations, and the best time to play like an MVP, exactly. The best time to play like an MVP is when your back is against the wall, and he threw 2 interceptions in the last 5 minutes and 30 seconds of the game.
Yeah, that one at the end was not. He was kind of trying to anticipate the route, and I will say he had a really nice anticipation route to, I think it was Johnson.
Yeah.
Juwan Johnson. That's the Saints guy. I forget his. Oh, Juwan Jennings. Jennings, the 49ers wide receiver. I think he was trying to hit Ray McCloud, I want to say, but just badly overthrew him. And then there's another pick. Yeah, 2 fourth quarter picks, right?
Yeah, 2
and then
fourth quarter
another
picks.
one over the middle. He just led him too much, trying to anticipate. But I mean, he's still young. I don't think it's time to hit the panic button on him. But he certainly did get outplayed by Kirk Cousins, and I think that was for sure the difference in the game.
Yep, easily.
But and look, they're at home. I'm not gonna pick against them, but they got Cincinnati, who's kind of starting to pick it up, coming off a bye week. It will be in San Francisco, but I mean that's gonna be a tough game. They could potentially lose 3 straight.
Yeah.
But then moving on, probably for sure the second best or biggest headline: Lamar Jackson resurgence. I have he goes off in all caps. Ravens routing the Lions. I did pick the Ravens, but I was surprised that they beat Detroit that badly.
Yeah.
But Lamar certainly, and as an AFC North guy, Steelers fan, I know it's probably not a great sight to see necessarily.
It's not. But I will say Lamar, he was on point, and people kept headlining on like TV shows and stuff like that. Like he was doing it from the pocket. Yeah. Like if you look at the stats, he was 21-27, 357 yards, 3 touchdowns. I think him, probably Mahomes and Kirk Cousins were the top 3 QB performances of Week 8 by far. And one thing that I saw on Twitter, and I think is worth noting, was that there were during the offseason when Lamar requested that trade, there were a bunch of teams that came out and said, "Yo, we're not getting him," which is weird. I never seen it before. I've never seen where teams came out and said, "We're not targeting this quarterback." And Lions head coach Dan Campbell, he was one of them.
Oh wow!
And
really?
he was one of the coaches that said, "Yo, we're not pursuing Lamar Jackson." And well, fast forward to Week 8, that's what he did. As a matter of fact, I think there's a Lamar quote saying the teams that came out, they're gonna regret it. And so
Lions definitely did.
Yeah,
on Sunday.
100%. And another shocked storyline for me was the Patriots beating the Bills. I think that was your lock. So both of our locks.
Hence us having losing records this week.
Yeah. Both of our locks just were not good.
Yeah.
Mac Jones, man.
I know he actually played good.
Yeah, I know. He did. he saved his job another week. That's exactly
at least for another couple weeks for sure.
That's it. And it's crazy because last week versus the Raiders, he had an opportunity to do the same thing and took a sack in the end zone, and that led to them losing. And then you fast forward to the Bills, a lot better team. And they beat the Bills, and the Bills fought a 4-3, surprisingly.
Yes. I was gonna say too. Now, fair, I didn't watch much of that game, but I mean, it's like the Bills it's like their reputation now. Josh Allen, worldly talented. I mean, you could make the argument he's the most talented quarterback besides Mahomes in the league, but results are very mixed bag, and they just seem to play down to their competition. Like the Patriots are one in whatever they were, absolutely reeling. I mean, arguably the worst team in the league besides maybe Carolina, who hasn't won a game yet, and you lose to them. I know it's division, but still, on the road, you got to win that game. I thought, how about Mike Gesicki grittying on the Bills and Mac Jones coming in? That shit had no flavor. Excuse my profanity.
No.
We'll have to bleep that out.
Yeah.
But that.
Oh my God, that was awful.
Had no flavor.
That was awful,
it
bro.
It did make me laugh. That was hilarious. But anyway, moving on. Browns edge of the Colts. That was a crazy game.
Bro, I was sweating, bro. I thought I would miss all my evening picks.
I picked the Colts. It was looking good for a little bit. Browns come back and win.
Oh my God. I was surprised they gave us 38 points. Because like, how do you shut down the Niners but then give us 38 points?
Gardner Minshew.
Gardner Minshew and Josh Downs.
Yeah.
Who is Josh Downs?
I know. He's a rookie. He's looking pretty good.
Yeah, man.
But yeah, no, I was surprised by that. Myles Garrett, though, I know he had a strip sack, and he was, I mean, to me, he's kind of taken Aaron Donald's crown as being the best defensive player in the league. Him
and
TJ Watt, yeah. And both in the AFC North. I feel bad for any quarterback in that division. Yeah. But 39-38. I think Kareem Hunt scored on 4th and goal from the 1 to win it. Yeah, that was big. One of the few picks I got right. Eagles made a statement victory at home, 31-17 over the Fins. Dolphins, I saw an interesting stat. I'm sure you did too. I don't think they beat a team with a winning record since they beat the Bills like all the way to last season, kind of in the first half of last season. Yep. So I didn't realize that. I mean, they're still Super Bowl contenders for sure, but obviously not a great look. They'll need to bounce back going forward. But Eagles kind of saying after that loss to the Jets, kind of reminding people, hey, I mean, we're still arguably the best team in the league, and still definitely the team to beat. Well, them in San Francisco in the NFC, and then Mahomes and Kelsey erupts. I say for routine win. It seems like they own that division. They hardly ever lose to anyone in that division. Yeah. Mahomes has kind of statistically wise not had up to his standards for sure this year. Finally broke out. And really went crazy. 400
yards and 4 touchdowns.
And Kelsey, too.
Yeah, that's 2 straight weeks for Kelsey with over 120 yards, by the way. And going back to the Eagles real quick, I'm gonna mention this. That was A.J. Brown's 5th straight game of 125 yards. 5th straight game. It's crazy because it was week 2. He was like, man, passing the ball. And ever since then, he hasn't been below 125.
Rip Devontae Smith fantasy owners.
But yeah, you know, hey, it's working. Eagles are 6-1. But yeah, going back to the Chiefs, one thing I want to talk about though is like the conversation on Herbert is, you know, kind of tough on Twitter right now. That was his 2nd straight bad game. And he was 17 for 30, a touchdown and 2 picks, just not good. And like this Chargers team as a whole, in my opinion, they're just not that good. Like
disappointing. I think if Brandon Staley isn't fired at least by the end of the season, I don't know what they're doing.
Same here.
I've never been impressed with him. I thought he should have been fired with that whole incident with the Raiders. I think it was 2 years ago, right?
Yeah, basically.
The Raiders were basically seeding, hey, I mean, without saying it, they were just kind of trying to run the clock out. I remember the scenario. It actually benefited the Steelers.
Yeah, so the scenario...
all they had to do was tie, I think, right?
Yeah, that's all they do. All they had to do was tie, and they both make it, and we lose out in the playoffs. But I think he called a timeout or something like that.
To get the ball back, and then the Raiders were like, all right. So I think they ran... it may have just been a run play, though, and they couldn't get Josh Jacobs on the ground, and they got in field goal range, and I mean, obviously, you can't just run the clock out. That's kind of... So they had to kick it at that point, and they made it and knocked the Chargers out of it.
Yep.
And Austin Eckler also, because I have him in fantasy, he has not been great since coming back from injury. Hoping things turn around, but really, I want to say, let me look at how many catches he had. He usually has way more. Um, we'll try to wrap it up here in the next few minutes.
I can definitely check. Hold on real quick.
I got it pulled up here, actually.
All right.
Usually he gets a lot of receptions. He had only one reception
for
1 yard on 2 targets. Very uncharacteristic. But yeah, Chargers seems like they're completely out of the playoff picture.
Yeah, 2-4.
Yeah, but
not looking good.
Moving on to stardom situms. I guess I'll list my first. Let's start with quarterbacks. So quarterbacks, I have Jared Goff at home against the Raiders on Monday Night Football. Goff's been kind of under the radar, really good this year. Obviously didn't have a good game against the Ravens. But I think that's kind of a one-off. Raiders, look, they're just not a very good football team. In Detroit, primetime matchup, I think he bounces back and has a really good fantasy week. And then a QB sit I don't know why you would start Russell Wilson. You'd have to be kind of desperate.
Yeah.
But the Chiefs' defense, man, it's since this kind of I guess you can't call it a dynasty that they've had, making the AFC title or Super Bowl, I think, like 5 or 6 straight years?
5 straight years, yeah.
And with Mahomes and Kelsey, obviously their offense gets all the plaudits and Andy Reid, but their defense has maybe been the best they've had.
Easily.
Really been doing phenomenal. Shutting down everyone, it seems like. And, yeah, I just don't see the Broncos doing anything.
Same here.
And then I guess we'll move on to running back starts. Deontay Foreman went off against the Chargers. He went off last week against the Raiders. He plays the Chargers on Sunday Night Football. I think you could continue to start him. Also, another guy under the radar at running back, Gus Edwards for the Ravens, had a really good game against the Lions. Probably his best all year. Playing at Arizona. Another not very good team, so like those matchups. And then I will say on the flip side, I would sit, I think Amari DeMarcado. I'm butchering this dude's name. Amari DeMarcado, however you say his name. I did pick him up. He's been doing pretty good in what's his name? James Conner in his absence, but I wouldn't start him against the Ravens defense. But
that makes sense.
Yeah, you got any quarterback or running backs? You're gonna move on to receivers.
Yeah. I do want to get to receivers real quick because I pretty much agree with all your stuff.
Mm-hmm.
For my starts with receivers, I have 3. I had George Pickens versus the Jags. He's been great this season.
He has been great.
500 total yards on the year, which is more than Chris Olave and Garrett Wilson.
Olave, my pick with that, by the way, has really took a turn for the worse. I tell you, he's going for the Pro Bowl, man.
It's all right.
Yeah.
I there's still a season left. I think he'll pick it up pretty easily.
Mm-hmm.
And then secondly, I do have Nico Collins versus the Panthers. That ties in with my pick. I think the Texans are gonna beat the Panthers. So I see Nico Collins having a great game. And then last week I have Jordan Addison picking up right where he left off versus the Packers. I know the Packers, they have Jair Alexander, who's obviously one of the best in the league. But with the amount of targets Addison is going to get, I think he's due for another big game. And another Vikings win.
I mean, this might be a little premature, but early on, I mean, he's almost looking like Jetta's 2.0.
Oh, yeah.
He's got, I'd have to look up his yards, but he's an explosive threat. I mean, when Jetta's comes back, that is a formidable passing attack they have.
Yeah.
I mean, him and Addison, you could argue, are already up there as one of the best duos at wideout. And you got T.J. Hawkinson, too, and the way Kirk's playing.
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah, Addison, man, he's got 6 touchdowns already.
Yeah,
on the season as a rookie.
He's great. He's great. I'm going to list my sits real quick. I do have Derek Carr versus the Colts.
Yeah.
Derek Carr, has been pretty disappointing so far for Saints fans. I know he's hurt right now. I know there was something up with him.
Yeah.
I think maybe with his ribs, and 2 weeks ago it was his shoulder. But even before then, he wasn't really playing that great. And another QB here, Baker Mayfield versus the Bills. I think the Bills will get a bounce back win versus the Bucks. And I will look, and I see Baker Mayfield struggling. And then DeAndre Hopkins versus the Falcons. Now News broke earlier today that Will Levis is a starting QB
Ooh,
against the
wow.
Falcons, and I have no idea how Will Levis
Yeah.
is going to play. So to put it on the safe side, I would sit
Yeah,
DeAndre
definitely.
Hopkins because you never know, a rookie QB week
Mm,
8 basically getting thrown into the fire with a bad
right.
O line, no
And
other
he's
receiver.
very turnover prone as well.
Exactly. So yeah, I would sit Hopkins not because of his individual talent, but
Right.
because of the
I
talent around him.
still don't know why he chose to go to the Titans. Didn't he say he
Same
wanted to
here.
go to a contender and
Yep,
then he
and they
signed to
picked
the
the
Titans?
Titans. Yeah,
Nah, I just
tough.
don't get it. Also, AJ Terrell, right, on Atlanta, they got a really underrated defense, and I would imagine he would be on D Hop because I mean,
Mm-hmm.
besides they really have no good receivers. I guess Traylon Burks, but he's still young. Uh, but yeah, I agree with that. Moving on to tight ends, I'd start Dallas Goddard. He's starting to kind of pick it up,
Yep,
playing the
yep.
Commanders. I like that. A sit I have at tight end is Tyler Higbee. It's kind of had a really disappointing year. It's like Puka Nakua is just eating up all the targets, and now you got Cooper Cup back too. Higbee's kind of taking a back seat, and then you playing. They're playing at the Cowboys, coming off a bye, and still one of the top defenses in the league. Um, but yeah, I think that's all of our starts and sits.
Yep, yep.
So
Easy.
moving on, to personally my favorite part, picking the
Yeah,
actual
same here.
games.
Same here.
So Thursday night football, we got the Bills playing the Buccaneers. I believe it's in Buffalo, correct?
I think so.
Yes, it is in Buffalo. I'm gonna go with the Bills to get a bounce back
Yeah,
win
same here.
after that
Easy.
embarrassing loss to New England.
Easy.
Yeah. Then moving on to the Sunday noon games, we got the Cowboys and the Rams in Dallas coming off a bye. Give me Dallas over the Rams. I think it'll be a good, probably close game, but I like the Cowboys in that one.
Same here. Same here. I like the Cowboys too. I see their defense shutting down either one of Cup or Puka Nakua. So, yeah, I like the Cowboys over
And
the
then
Rams.
moving on to our next noon game, and it's kind of even or interesting. The line is even right now. Vikings at Packers, always a close game. Just off the eye test, the Vikings are clearly the better team. I don't know why. I just have a feeling it's in Lambeau. I don't know why. I just feel like the Packers are gonna get a bounce back win and kind of slow the Vikings roll. I
That's
could
fair.
easily be wrong, but just give me the Packers.
Yeah,
No rhyme or reason.
I like the Vikings, man. I like what I saw from them against the best defense in the NFL last week.
Yeah.
So yeah, give me the Vikings over the Packers, even in Lambeau, a tough crowd to play.
And then we got the Falcons travel to Tennessee. They're 4-3. They're favoring this game. First place in the NFC South. That our Saints division looks so bad. They look like probably the best team right now. Atlanta, only team above 500. Tennessee's 2-4, but they are coming off a bye week. In Tennessee, are what's is it Arthur Lynch he was on the staff with Mike Vrabel, right?
Yeah, I think
At
so.
Tennessee. So you got a little kind of interesting storyline there. I think, again, the Falcons are a better team, I think, but coming off a bye, Titans really in desperate need of a win. Heavy dose of King Henry. I say they somehow pull it out in a really low scoring game.
Yeah. That's a fair take. I do have the reverse, but like you said, I think it will be a close game. There's, as we get late into the season, there's gonna be like a lot of bad teams going
Right.
up against each other, and like it's just up in the air. But yeah, I do like the Falcons. I think they're more talented. Obviously hoping that that Bijan
Yes.
is
Please. I got
healthy.
you in 2 of my 3 fantasy leagues.
Yeah. So yeah, I like the Falcons over the Titans.
And then next game, Saints at the Colts. Line is even. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if the Colts win. Saints are looking rough right now, but I'm a ride with my team. Give me the Saints in a close one. That would be tough though for the Colts. They just lost a heartbreaker at home to Cleveland. I do expect another close game, and I'm gonna say Carr and Olave do just enough and kind of answer to the noise they've been facing.
Yeah.
And finally have a decent game.
Yeah. I can't believe I'm doing this, but yeah, I'll go with the Saints. I know I don't love it. I don't love it. But in that second half performance versus the Jaguars, they did make a comeback. So I think they'll have a much needed win over the Colts. It will probably be something like 17-16. But hey, they'll get the job done. At least I think. Yeah.
And then one of our last noon games, we have the Pats at the Dolphins. Dolphins 9.5-point favorites.
Yeah.
Pats are coming off that win over Buffalo, but I think the Dolphins bounce back after losing the Philly. I think Dolphins win big.
I agree.
I think Tua and Tyree go off.
Same here. Below 500 team, you know what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah, it's they love beating up on them. So then let's see our next one. Battle of New York, the Jets at the Giants. Battle of the Meadowlands. Jets coming off a bye week. 3-3 have been really playing better. That defense is something serious. Giants did get a win over the Commanders at home. I don't think they do it back-to-back weeks. Give me the Jets.
I agree. I think the Jets will overwhelm Tyrod Taylor and and Saquon Barkley. So yeah, give me the Jets over the Giants.
And then we got your Steelers at home against the Jaguars. Big game for the playoff picture early on. Jags are 5-2. I think they're on a 4-game win streak.
Yeah.
Let's see, 1, 2, 3. Yep, they're on a 4-game win streak. Started 1-2. Now they're 5-2. Really starting to pick it up. Steelers as well are hot. They're 4-2. Nice gritty road win on the road. They've won 4 of their last 5 after losing their first game.
Yep.
So big battle there in Pittsburgh. Jags are a 2.5-point favorite. I wouldn't be surprised either way, but I like the Steelers at home. I think that defense and T.J. Watt harasses Trevor Lawrence enough to get the win, and I think the Deontay Johnson coming back is really underrated.
Huge.
You got someone now to pair with Pickens. 2 really good underrated receiving duo. I think you get enough. And Najee Harris is kind of starting to. I saw he got a touchdown. Him and Jalen Warner doing just enough.
As a matter of fact, versus the Rams, we had not had a rushing touchdown all season, and then versus the Rams, we scored 3. Mm-hmm. So I do love my. Like I said, I'm a riding down for my team. Give me the Steelers over the Jags, even though that they piss me off sometimes. Yeah, give me the Steelers, man.
Should be a good game though. And then Eagles against the Commanders. It is in Washington at noon. Eagles -6.5. I know the Commanders, I think, upset them in Washington or in D.C. for their first win. Or was it in Philly? It was in Philly, actually.
Yeah,
it was in Philly for when the Eagles started undefeated. I don't see that happening. I think the Eagles are. They got a big win over Dolphins. I think they'll carry that momentum.
Plus, they just traded for Kevin Byard, which is something to note.
Howie Roseman, man.
That's how you build a roster.
Everybody.
That's how you build a roster with your franchise QB.
GM take notes. But yeah, 100%. I think the Eagles are too much. Commanders having another disappointing season. And then moving on, Panthers hosting the Texans. Both teams had a bye last week. Houston -3. This is kind of similar to the Packers-Vikings game. I don't know why. I just feel like the Panthers are due for a win. They're 0-6, only winless team. I feel like Stroud maybe has a rookie mistake or 2 in him against Carolina on the road, and I say the Panthers pull out a close one for their first win. That's going to be my I think we forgot to do ice cold or hot takes, but that's my upset of the week.
So I had the reverse. I got Texans over Panthers. I feel like I'm picking like kind of obvious, but like it's so well.
Yeah, I'm probably trying to be a little too different.
But
we'll see what happens. And then I think that was all the noon games I want to say. Then moving on to the afternoon, you got Cleveland at Seattle. Coming off, I think, is Deshaun Watson banged up?
No, he's out.
Okay, he's out. Okay, well that makes my pick even more comfortable. Then I'll go with Seahawks at home.
I had it too. I am nervous though because last time we doubted the Browns going into a game they won, but
I think I picked. Are you talking about the Niners game?
Yeah,
I did pick. I actually picked them.
Yeah.
With that was about. I don't see me topping that upset pick. I don't know why. What possessed me to pick that, but it worked out.
It did.
But yeah, I think the magic runs out for Cleveland at Seattle.
I think so too.
Chiefs at Denver. I know Denver's a tough place to play, Mile High, but I mean, I think that just the difference in these teams is over insurmountable. I think Chiefs, Patrick Mahomes, Kelsey roll.
I'm the same way. Yeah. I'm the same way.
And then Ravens at the Cardinals.
This is my luck.
Ravens 5-2 on the road. Cardinals 1-6. They did beat Dallas, but
That was week
Lamar,
2.
yeah, right. And it's the Cowboys. They always do something.
Yeah,
dumb.
something dumb. Yeah.
So, a Ravens rolling. Lamar is really coming into his own. And I kind of thought coming into the year since Lamar, I thought he could be in the MVP conversation if he keeps. I think playing,
he is. Yeah,
if he keeps playing like he already is, I think for sure. But if he keeps playing like this, he's gonna keep moving up.
I think it's gonna be him and Mahomes, leading the way for MVP. And it's gonna be a great debate.
Yeah,
it's gonna be a great debate as we get into the later stages of the season.
So yeah, I think we both roll with the Ravens, and then last afternoon game.
This is my most controversial pick right here.
Bengals at the Niners. So Bengals coming off a bye. Burrow, you get time to rest. I think T. Higgins, is he gonna play? Or
not too sure.
Not too sure. I mean, you still got Jamar Chase, obviously. Niners on a 2-game losing streak. They are at home. This is tricky. I wouldn't be surprised if the Bengals pulled it off. But I am going to go with the Niners at home. I don't think they lose 3 in a row, and I think their defense gets to Burrow enough to slow down Cincinnati.
That's a good take, but this is like one of my hot takes. This is obviously my most controversial pick. I like the Bengals over the Niners. I see the Niners losing 3 straight after starting 5-0.
I hope the Bengals win because I don't like San Francisco.
Yeah. I got the Bengals winning. I got the Niners losing 3 straight games after starting off the season 5-0. That's probably that's one of my hot takes I have. So yeah, give me the Bengals over the Niners in a very close game. And then we get the Chargers and Bears.
Yeah, Sunday Night Football. What a game.
Oh, man.
It would be more interesting if Justin Fields was playing, but he's still out, right?
Yeah.
I don't see... They did have a heartwarming story, I guess. They beat the Raiders with, like, a former D2 quarterback.
Yeah.
First ever NFL start. I don't even know his name. I forgot his name, but I don't see him winning. The Chargers are not having a good season, to say the least, but I do think... Herbert has a bounce-back game against the suspect Bears defense.
I agree.
And I think Chargers get the win. Then, fast forward, this is my lock of the week. Monday Night Football, Lions 5-2 hosting the 3-4 Raiders. I think Garoppolo actually is coming back this week, so that would be good for Raiders fans. But I think Detroit is just the better team, and they get it done at home following an embarrassing bless you.
Thank you.
Following an embarrassing road loss at Baltimore. I think they come out hot and take care of the Raiders.
Yeah, and real quick, we'll just go over our locks and stuff real quick. My lock is Ravens over Cardinals 38-10. Upset is Bengals over Niners 27-23. And my ice cold take is the Steelers improved to 5-2. But Kenny Pickett, this is where it comes in. Kenny Pickett has a career high 300+ yards, 2 touchdowns. He plays a complete game this time. He has the highest passer rating in the fourth quarter of the entire NFL. But in the first 3 quarters, I believe he's near the bottom.
Wow, so it's like he's just like whatever, and in the fourth quarter,
he's basically Blaine Gabbert for the first 3 quarters, and Tom Brady in the fourth quarter. So my hot take is that he plays a complete game, start to finish, 300+ yards and 2 touchdowns. Steelers win 27-24. 27 points is actually the most points we could potentially score this season.
Right.
So that's my hot take.
Hanging around, man.
Yeah, sadly, but that's my hot take, man. That's my hot take.
I like that as well. I do think the Steelers will pull it out. It should be a really good game. My lock, like I said a few months ago, Lions over Raiders at home. My upset of the week is Carolina at home hosting the Texans. The upstart Texans really been impressive. C.J. Stroud, I think, probably is going to win Rookie of the Year. Maybe him or Jordan Addison. Unless I'm forgetting somebody. But those two really... you could have went Devon A-Chain. He was the front runner, but he got hurt. I think he probably missed too much time. But yeah, that's my upset. Carolina finally gets the first win. No more winless teams in the league. And then my hot take, or ice-cold take of the week, I'm going to say... Now, obviously, the Ravens should blow out the Cardinals. Not that them winning is... my take, but I think that Gus Edwards is kind of emerging. I say he goes for 150 rush yards and 2 touchdowns at Arizona.
Not bad.
So I think that's pretty much it.
Yeah.
Obviously, we got our team Saints play at the Colts. Steelers, huge game with the Jags, should be interesting. Another week of NFL action.
Yeah.
Tomorrow night, Bucks at the Bills. Thursday night football in Buffalo. Lions, Southeastern Lions that is, have a bye week. So no football this week. Would like to shout out volleyball though. 15-game winning streak. Absolutely incredible. Just shout out, man, to Coach White and the team. I mean, they're just playing out of their minds right now. But yeah, I think that pretty much does it.
Yeah.
Unless you got any final comments you'd like to
Oh
add
yeah, real quick. Obviously, basketball season starting up,
Yeah.
and speaking of Southeastern, the Lady Lions they start November 6th at 11 a.m. And on that same day, the men's basketball team they start their season on that same day at 6:00 p.m. So sports are in full swing, man. Sports are in full swing.
Loving it.
Same here. Lots to cover, lots to talk about. But yeah, that's it for me, man. That's it.
Yeah, I love this time of year, man. Fall, like kind of going into winter. You got basketball, football,
baseball. Still
I'm
got
a
the
baseball
playoffs.
fan. Obviously, my team's not in it, but still. And college
Been a crazy year for Philly, man.
College basketball, I know, man. It's like just heartbreak after heartbreak.
Both Philly sports teams blew a 3-1 lead or 3-2 lead.
Yep.
And then they lost Super Bowl as well. Oof, tough.
Yeah, and I think their soccer team. I like soccer, but I watch more European soccer. But I think the Philadelphia Union lost on penalty kicks in the championship in the MLS. It's just like they can't catch a break. But that being said, another good episode. Y'all show some love down in the comments. Leave any suggestions maybe you have for us to talk about on our next show. But that'll do it for week 8. I'm Chase Gispert.
And I'm Tor Allen.
And we'll see y'all next time.
Yes, sir. Peace.
That was long as hell.
That was.